Everybody and their mama keeps asking me the same question right now. Shakeima, is now actually a good time to buy in Charleston, or am I about to make a mistake? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to have the answer with real numbers and no fluff. Hey, I'm Shakeima Chatman, your Charleston and Somerville relocation specialist. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for a while, thank you for coming back. Today is our mid-2026 Charleston market update. I'm pulling the actual CTAR MLS numbers, the rate forecast, and the on-the-ground reality I'm seeing every single week with my buyers and sellers. And I'm putting it all in front of you, straight, no chaser. Now, here is why this video matters right now. The Charleston market has shifted. I'm not exaggerating. The market you read about in 2022, home selling in 2 days, 12 offers, escalation clauses, waived inspections, that market is gone. And what we have in its place is something very different, very interesting, and frankly, very opportunity filled if you know what you're looking at. But there's a flip side too. Rates are still elevated. Insurance costs in Charleston are no joke. And what worked in another city in another year does not necessarily work here. So we're going to break it all down. I'm going to walk you through what the data says, what actually happened on the ground, and where I think we're headed for the rest of 2026. And at the end, I'm going to give you my honest take on whether now is the moment to move. So let's get into it. Let's start with the headline number. Per the most recent Charleston Trident Association of Realtors data, the median sales price across the Tri-County area is $457,968,000. That is a 7.8% year-over-year increase. Now I want you to pause and let that land. But here is what most people get wrong about that number. A 7.8% price increase sounds like a hot on fire seller's market. It's not. What that number is actually showing is that the mix of home selling has shifted towards the higher end. The luxury segment in Mount Pleasant, Daniel Island, downtown Charleston, Kiowa, and the Marshfront communities. Those are still moving and pulling the median up. Meanwhile, the mid-market is softening, and that's where the real opportunity is. The price per square foot story is a much more honest picture. And what you're seeing there is a market that has stabilized, not crashed, not surged, but settled into something sustainable for the first time in 5 years. For buyers, that 7.8% headline number is a little misleading. You're not walking into home prices priced 78% higher than last year in every neighborhood. You're walking into a market where the high end is still strong and everything below has gotten more reasonable. That is a very different conversation than Charleston prices are exploding, which is what most of these headlines want you to believe. Now this is the data point I want you to write down. New listings in the Charleston Metro are up 9.3% year over year. Pending sales are up 18.4%, and our month supply has expanded. Depending on which source you trust, we're somewhere between 3.4 and 4.8 months of inventory. That's compared to less than 1 month of inventory during the peak craziness in 2022. Hear me clearly. Charleston has more homes on the market right now than it has had in nearly 5 years. And that changes everything. The sale to list price ratio is now sitting at 97.09%. Translation, on average, sellers are accepting offers around 3% under their asking price. Compare that to 2022, when homes were going over asking by 5, 10, even 15%. Only 8.7% of Charleston homes sold over asking in early 2026, down from 16.67% the year before. And the percentage of listings from price reductions has jumped from 6.38% to 20.66%. 1 in 5 active listings will have a price cut. That is what a normalized market looks like. And for buyers, that means 3 things. 1, you have time to think. 2, you have leverage to negotiate. And number 3, you are actually getting an inspection without losing the house. After 5 years of buyers being run out of this market, we are finally at a moment where buyers can buy like buyers. Now let's talk rates, because this is where most people are paralyzed. As of early May 2025, Freddie Mac is reporting the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate around 6.3%. The Mortgage Bankers Association is forecasting we close the second quarter somewhere between 6.1% and 6.3%. Fannie Mae is more optimistic, projecting we end Q2 around 5.9%. For year-end 2026, the consensus for every major forecaster, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, MBA, NAR, puts the 30-year fixed rate between 5.8% and 6.2%. So here is what that means. Rates today are not dramatically down in the next 6 months, and they are also not going dramatically up. They're doing what we call drifting, slowly, modestly downward. The Federal Reserve is expected to cut rates 2 to 3 more times in 2026. That will likely pull the 10-year Treasury, which is what mortgage rates actually track, down with it. But baby, anybody who's telling you you're going back to 3% mortgages is selling you a dream. That is a once in a generation emergency rate environment, and we are not going back there in this decade. What you can count on is a rate environment in the low sixes with the possibility of dipping into the upper fives by late 2026 or into 2027. Now, real quick, if I've given you better information in 5 minutes that most agents will give you in an hour-long buyer consultation, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe, and tap that like bell. I drop a Charleston market update like this every quarter, plus new content every week on neighborhoods, relocation, and what's actually happening in this market. You don't want to miss it. All right, let's keep going, because the next part is where most agents get nervous and stop talking honestly. Here's the question I'm asked more than any other right now. Shakeima, should I wait for rates to drop before I buy? And I'm going to tell you what I tell every single client who asks me that. Let's run the actual numbers and see what rating really costs you versus what it saves you. Let's say you're looking at a $600,000 home in Charleston today with 10% down. At 6.3%, you're financing $540,000, and your principal and interest payment is approximately $3,344 a month. Now, let's say you wait 12 months, rates do drop. Let's be generous and say they drop to 5.8% by mid 2027. But at this part, this is the part most folks ignore. When rates drop, demand surges. Every buyer who's been sitting on the sideline piles back into the market. Competition heats up and prices goes up. Most Charleston forecasters are projecting modest 2 to 4% price appreciation over the next 12 months. Let's split the middle and say that same home is now $618,000. At 10% down on $1,618,000 at 5.8%, your principal and mortgage payment is approximately $3,266 a month. You saved $78,000, but you paid an extra $18,000 for the same house. In the meantime, you spent 12 months paying someone else's mortgage as rent. You missed out on a year of building equity, and you missed out on whatever appreciation happened on that home. Now, I'm not telling you to rush into a bad decision. I'm telling you what waiting for rates is not the slam dunk strategy people think it is. The smart play in this market is to marry the house and date the rate. Get the house you actually want at today's negotiating, leverage, and refinance when rates come down. Now, let me tell you where I'm seeing the real opportunities in the Charleston market right now. And I'm going to be specific because vague advice helps nobody. West Ashley is having a moment. With the Ashley Landing redevelopment underway and median prices for established neighborhoods still below the city of Charleston median, this is where I'm seeing my smart relocators quietly position themselves. You get city access, you get appreciation potential, and you get a price that still makes sense. Park Circle in North Charleston continues to attract work from home professionals. Walkability, restaurants, breweries, character, and prices that still make the math work for a high-earning single buyer or a dink couple. James Island and Johns Island are where I'm seeing new construction with negotiating room. Builders right now are offering rate buydowns, closing cost credits, and price flexibility that did not exist 18 months ago. If you're patient and you know what to ask for, this is a category to watch. Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island, yes, they're premium markets. Yes, they're still expensive, but the days on market here have grown. Properties that would have moved in 7 days in 2022 are sitting 60, 80, sometimes 90 plus days, which means motivated sellers, which means negotiation, which means the right buyer with patience and a sharp agent can write an offer that gets accepted today that would have been laughed at 3 years ago. In Somerville, Nexton, Cane Bay, Carnes, and established Somerville neighborhoods, they continue to be where buyers get the most home for their money in the metro, with quality school district options and newer construction. Now, I'm not going to send you into this market without telling you what to be careful about. Number one is insurance. Charleston homeowners insurance is expensive. Average policies are running between $3,500 and $5,300 a year, and waterfront or marshfront properties run significantly more. Get an insurance quote before you write an offer, not after. I've seen deals fall apart at the closing table over insurance. Number two, flood zones. Charleston has expanded flood mapping, and Risk Rating 2.0 has changed the cost gain for flood insurance. Always, always verify a property's flood designation and get a current quote before you fall in love. Number three, hurricane season. We're in it, coming up June through November. New construction has been built to current codes, but older homes have varying levels of preparedness. Inspections matter more here than almost anywhere else. Number four, HOA and special assessments and newer developments. Read the docs, know what you're signing up for monthly, and what could come down the pipe. None of this is meant to scare you out of buying. It's meant to make you a smarter buyer who prices these realities in before the offer goes out, not after. Now, here is what I want you to walk away with. Mid-2026 is one of the best moments to buy in Charleston that we've seen in 5 years. Not because the market is collapsing. It's not. Not because rates are dropping dramatically. They're not. But because for the first time since 2019, we have inventory, time, and negotiating leverage all at once. The buyers who win in this market are not the ones waiting for the perfect rate. They are the ones who recognize that every metric, inventory, days on market, price reductions, sale to list ratio is pointing in the buyer's favor right now. And they're moving with intention while everybody else is still paralyzed. Now is now a smart time to buy? The right question for you? That depends on your timeline, your income, your savings, your risk tolerance, and what you're trying to accomplish. But if you've been on the fence, if you've been waiting for a sign, the market data is your sign. You are in a window of opportunity that will not last forever, because as soon as rates drop another full point, every sideline buyer in this country is going to pile back in, and that's when prices run again. So if you're thinking about making a move to Charleston, Somerville, Mount Pleasant, North Charleston, or anywhere in the Lowcountry in 2026, let's talk. Call me directly at 843-532-0330. That's 843-532-0330. And I actually answer my phone. No 1-800 line, no assistant taking a message you'll never hear back from. You're going to sit down and we're going to have a specific conversation about your situation and figure out whether the market window we're in right now lines up with your timeline. And while you're at it, grab my 2026 Charleston and Somerville Relocation Guide, just updated. It's in the description. It's free, and it's the same guide I send my serious buyers. And before you click off, hit subscribe, because the next video in this series is going to take you inside 5 Charleston neighborhoods where smart locators are quietly buying in 2026, including a few that even longtime locals overlook. You don't want to miss this one. Click the next video, lock in, and I'll see you on the other side. Talk to you soon.